I found this cemetery quite by accident, my little strangelings. I was in Louisville, Kentucky with my East Coast bestie at Kane_USMC and his guests from Wales helping to facilitate a trip to Waverly Hills Sanitarium. We took the whole day and stopped back in at Frankfort and Cave Hill cemeteries on our route, and after Cave Hill, had found some dinner at a good spot called Game, which specialized in burgers made from wild game meat. It was after dinner, but before our tour, and we found ourselves with over 2.5 hours to kill before our tour at Waverly, which was less than 20 minutes away, when I drove past St. Louis Cemetery and discovered its gates standing open. To say I made a swift turn into them is an understatement, and upon looking up the hours, discovered we had a whole hour and a half to explore. Located at 1167 Barrett Avenue, in Louisville, Kentucky, St. Louis Cemetery is a Catholic cemetery and part of the Archdiocese of Louisville. From their website, the first St. Louis Cemetery opened for services in 1811 and was located behind the original St. Louis Church at 10th and Main Streets. When St. Louis Church was relocated in 1831, the gravesites were moved to the Catholic section of Western Cemetery. The gravesites were later moved to the present St. Louis Cemetery, which was opened in 1867. St. Louis Cemetery has approximately 43 acres and is surrounded by over a mile of limestone wall. St. Louis Cemetery was known as the Irish Catholic Cemetery, but Catholics from many different heritages have been laid to rest here. Diocesan priests, including Bishop O'Donoghue, Xaverian Brothers, Sister of St. Francis, Sisters of Mercy, and Little Sisters of the Poor have graves in St. Louis Cemetery. St. Louis Cemetery offers the right of burial to the Catholic community and all of God's people. Over 47,000 persons have been laid to rest at St. Louis. Come visit the beautiful memorials that reflect the beliefs and symbolism of our Catholic faith. Although limited, there are still graves available for sale at St. Louis Cemetery." Unquote. Due to the disinterment and reinterment of graves up to twice, it is rumored the spirits of St. Louis have been unable to find rest. And though I have found claims that it is haunted, I haven't found any details other than this amorphous assertion that it is. To be sure, this cemetery held some rather beautiful and unique monuments, and some, like this dapper gentleman, were wrought in exquisite detail, right down to his pocket watch chain leading into his pocket. The Catholic symbolism throughout its grounds teased at my nostalgia as I was raised Catholic, and overall, it was a delight to drive and walk through to photograph and film. Since it stays open longer than Cave Hill, I recommend you travel Cave Hill first. But if you have the time, I think you should stop in here too. It was a pleasant way to let the grains of the hourglass drain while we waited for our tour slot time to approach for Waverly.